What's up, everybody? I am Harrison Graham. This is Chicago Bears Now by Chat Sports, and we are 3 days away from Sunday Night Football between the Bears and the Texans. Certainly can't wait for that one. Lots to get to today. Big injury reports from both teams today. Some new names on and new updates for each team. So tons to cover. We will get after it as we go here. But we'll let the audience build up a little bit. Shout out your city. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We got producer Cullen rocking and rolling as always, as he is here. And Cullen, 3 days away. Some question marks for the Bears at receiver. Be an interesting couple of days here.
Yeah, we're potentially one more report or one more just kind of confirmation from it being Tyler Scott as wide receiver 2.
Yeah, I tweeted this out a few minutes ago. I think tomorrow we'll know that Odunze's out. I think they'll list Keenan Allen questionable regardless of if he practices or not. And then I think he'll be kind of a game-time decision. But I would expect Colin Johnson to be elevated to be ready for Sunday night regardless. And if Keenan can go, maybe he's inactive. But I think Rome will be out. I think Keenan will be a game time. And I think Johnson's elevated and probably active, especially if Keenan Allen's out. So, yeah, he could be a little undermanned there. Still have DJ Moore. I think you'll see more tight end utilization this week, especially Cole Kmet. So I think it'll look different regardless. But, yeah, it's, if both those guys are out, that's certainly not ideal.
Not at all. But, listen, you play the hands that you're dealt. I would expect a lot more, work on the ground as well for DeAndre Swift, maybe Khalil Herbert. Could see Travis Homer potentially getting in if they do have to go, a little heavy in the passing game just to kind of shore up the blocking that we saw from week 1. But, yeah, man, it's going to be an interesting game, to say the least.
Yeah, it should be fun. I'll get some shout-outs here. We got Tank in Memphis. Where are you guys tuning in from? St. Cloud, Florida, from Robert. We got Mendota from Jim. What's up, Jim? Let's see. L2, what's up? I'm good. How you been? We got Chris in Apopka, Florida. Alfonso in the Caribbean, Antigua. What's up, Alfonso? We got Kenny in Memphis, Rockford, Illinois, from Sean. We got King Towers in Chicago. Lacora, Caleb in RG, Stadiumville, Illinois. Nice. Kingston, Alabama, from Josh. Jim in Tempe, Arizona. Jay Sive in Mesa. We got Robert in Chicago. Sean in Sanford, Florida. Ray Hill in Charlotte. Cram Dango in Washington, D.C. Sean, Love You Podcast. I don't know if you're promoting something, but go check it out. The Love You Podcast. Kenny says FGB. What's up, Kenny? Dylan in Blackpool, England. We got D in San Jose, California. Omar in Manhattan. What's up, Omar? Get your score predictions in. Who wins and what is the final score? The live poll is, be honest, who wins this week? Bears, Texans. 56% of y'all saying Bears. Usually it's like 90-10, so I think you're seeing some people being like, if I'm being realistic, the Texans probably should win this game. And look, if we're being fair, the Texans should win this game. Now, that doesn't mean they will. It's the NFL. It doesn't mean like the Bears are incapable. They have a good roster, but I think you would be being a little dishonest if you thought the Bears were favored here. Christian 27-12 Texans. Enduros is 24-21 Bears. Texans 27-17. We got Sal saying Bears 34-20. I'll tell you what, Colin, if the Bears do win this game, that's gonna, what's the phrase I'm looking for? It's gonna roll some what's the phrase?
Ruffle some feathers?
What's the phrase around the league? That's going to send shockwaves a little bit. Maybe that's what I'm looking for. That's going to catch people's attention. That's for sure. That is for sure. 28-21 Bears from Tim. 21-17 Bears from Thomas. Then he says 17-13 Bears. Got a little super chat from Trooper. Appreciate it, Trooper. Tito with the 5 as well. Says, how is it you have DJ, Keenan, Rome, and Swift on the field together for 10 plays? Makes no sense. Kmet with only 21 snaps. He actually had 27, but I hear your point. Waldron making me nervous. Yeah, we'll talk about Shane Waldron more today. He spoke to the media, took some ownership on some of the shortcomings in week 1, And, yeah, I think it's a good point, Tito, if that number's accurate. Those 4 players on the field, only 10 plays together. If that's actually true, that's way too low of a number. I mean, that's not even a crazy, personnel usage or something. That's just 11 personnel, 3 receivers, 1 back. So that's a little concerning if that's actually the case. All right, do got to tell you about our sponsors. We got Rocket Money, who's going to help you save money by canceling any subscriptions you no longer want. Download the Rocket Money app today, rocketmoney.com/bears now. I've been using them for about a year and a half now, and my wife and I have saved a lot of money because we got rid of subscriptions we were no longer using. We've set our budgets with Rocket Money. They keep us informed on a week-to-week basis if we're on track or overspending for that month. And we saved enough money that we're actually going to make a trip to Chicago next month. More details to come. RocketMoney.com/bears now. If you use the app to its fullest potential, you can save over $700 per month. We are also sponsored by Game Time. Shout out to Game Time for sponsoring today's show. If you want to go check out the Bears, the White Sox, the Cubs, or go to any other sporting event, comedy show, or concert, get your tickets with Game Time. Last bit of tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Code ChatSports gets you $20 off your first purchase only. Terms do apply there. So check it out. Download the app. Code ChatSports, all one word. $20 off your first purchase only. Bears, White Sox, Cubs, Bulls, Blackhawks, when those teams resume. Concerts, comedy shows. Get your tickets. Appreciate Game Time for sponsoring. And now we've got Michael Horowitz. Boom! Shout out to Michael Horowitz with the $100 super chat. We appreciate it, Michael. Get you another sticker on the new Bears Helmet Hall of Fame. He also gets another boom in the September Boom Club chart. The winner, of course, will get a Rome Odunze signed helmet. So shout out to Michael Horowitz. Here we go.
My man's up to lucky number 7 this month.
Michael Horowitz.
Shout out to the legend.
And by the way, we got the orange helmet. Bears rocking the oranges this week.
Ooh,
they rocked the oranges in prime time against the Commanders last year, and that was a 40 burger in Washington. DJ Moore, 230 yards. Trooper with the 5, he says, I think the Bears defense going into this game can hold up against the Texans offense, but the Bears offense needs improvement before Sunday night. Yeah, I do feel like I don't think the Texans offense is just going to run shop on Chicago's defense. Now, if the Bears are going 3 and out a bunch or start turning it over and give them C.J. Stroud short fields, yeah, they could score 30+, but the Bears offense has a decent game and they're not turning the ball over. I think they can keep the Texans in the 20s. And I think I said it on our preview video. I think 25 is kind of the number. I picked Texans 24-16. So if you can keep them under 25, it's kind of up to the offense at that point. I feel like you've done your job if you hold Houston to 24 or less in their building. So you just got to find enough points offensively. Obviously, got a couple of receivers potentially down, so that's going to make it potentially tricky. But got to find a way to go compete and just get into the fourth quarter with the chance. That's how you got to view this, and see if you can get it done in the fourth quarter. All right, speaking of offensive just weirdness from the opener, who should start at right guard? Now, Ryan Bates, little teaser, did not practice today, so maybe that decision will be made for them. But if you think it should be Nate Davis, type ND. If you think it should be Ryan Bates, type RB. If you think it's someone else, if you want to drop a name in the comments like Matt Pryor or Bill Murray, let us know. Who do you guys think should start at right guard? I'll say this, Cullen. Whoever starts, unless they are just getting absolutely embarrassed, play them the whole game. Let's see if we can find a combination of 5 that can work here, because I can't think of a single example where rotating a position on the offensive line has resulted in a good thing. It just, to me, if you're rotating, that means A, one guy is working back from injury or is not well enough conditioned, or B, you don't really like either of your options. So I would rather just pick one and see how it goes.
Yeah, it's like the old saying, right? If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. If you have 2 right guards, you have none.
Yeah, that's how it seems.
Not to mention that, but I mean, continuity. It's probably arguably one of the biggest words that comes with the offensive line, and you need to build that if you hope to have a successful offensive line. So this constant rotation is not good for anybody, and yeah, I agree. I think you just need to stick with something, whoever the best man is, whether it's Ryan Bates, whether it's Nate Davis, whether it's Coleman, Shelton somewhere mixed in there. You just got to find a 5 and roll with it until you cannot roll with it anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I would, and with Bates not practicing today, maybe this is an opportunity for Nate Davis. Maybe you talk to him going into this game, say, hey, this game is yours. Prove to us you're the guy. Like, it's been a lot of ups and downs, mostly down since signing here, but he graded out better in week 1 than Ryan Bates did, albeit on less snaps. Give him this game. See what he does. See if he can kind of lock down that spot, because it'd be nice if he could, because then, Colin, what it could also do is if a few weeks go by, Coleman Shelton's getting bodied around, well, then maybe Bates gets back into the mix at center at that point, because what you can't have is major questions at both positions. Like, if one of those can get locked down, you can live with that, because, look, it's the NFL. Very few teams have great players at all 5 offensive line spots, but what you can't have is major question marks at 2 of your 3 interior spots. So hopefully they figured it out. Someone in the chat, Eddie Jackson. I think I can block better than Eddie Jackson, and I'm actually serious on that. So
yeah,
we'll see. Oh, baby. Look who it is. We'll get to him in a second. John Taylor says 2 things that would make me happy, win or lose. Caleb throws for 1 touchdown with 180 yards, 60-plus completion percentage. Velus Jones off the team. Well, John, I don't know which more of those. I think 180 yards and 60% completion is way more likely than Velus not being on the team before this Sunday. I think if they were going to cut him, that would have been a Monday morning deal. Doesn't mean they won't at some point if he keeps making mistakes, but I think for now he's still safe. And, oh, here he is. He's the man, the myth, the legend. It's Michael Horowitz. Boom! Boom! Shout out to the legend, Michael Horowitz. He's making his presence felt. He's making his presence felt.
As we can always rely, and he goes with, I believe that means Ryan Bates as his pick for right guard.
That's what it would seem, no?
Yeah.
That's what it would seem.
I don't hate it.
I don't care who it is. I just want them to pick one.
Yeah. And I don't mind it. If it is Shelton and Ryan Bates at your center and right guard spot, maybe build those guys, get some continuity, maybe kind of give Nate Davis a kick in the ass a little bit. I don't hate it. I do not hate it.
More stickers for the man. He's got this whole row up here. He's got this whole row. $100 get you into the Bears Now Helmet Hall of Fame. So he just got there with that 200 chat. What a legend. All right. Before we get into the show, hit that like button if you love the Bears, if you want them to win on Sunday night against the Houston Texans. Go ahead and like this video because we got a lot of stuff to get to, including the latest news from House Hall and injury reports for both the Bears and the Texans, updates on Keenan Allen and Odunze and others. A couple new additions to the Texans injury report, too, that I want to discuss. Live Q&A, we'll take your questions, hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get your questions answered on this show. And there's a new report out there that the Jets may have no choice but to trade Haason Reddick. I've kind of shifted my tune here. I would not make that trade, at least not right now. That could certainly change between now and the trade deadline, but why I would pass on Haason Reddick, I'll explain all of that coming up on today's show. Before we get to that, though, real quick, Papi Chulo sits. We got a super chat from him. Appreciate it. He says, Panthers right guard center Austin Corbett, trade deadline target. Yeah, I think there's a real scenario where, you know, if the Bears are hovering around 500 or they're trying to add a piece for a playoff push, that offensive line may actually be an area over defensive line in terms of looking to add somebody. So keep an eye on that. That's why they gotta figure out if this interior offensive line is good enough, because if not, that might be an area they need to make a move. All right, here we go. My name is Harrison Graham. It is time for Bears Now. Coming up on Chicago Bears Now, the latest injury news for both the Bears and the Texans leading into Sunday Night Football. Shane Waldron speaks to the media, took some ownership on last week's shortcomings offensively, and Richard Hightower, the special teams coordinator, ripping Velus Jones Jr. We're going to discuss it all here on this show. But first, if we get to 4,000 followers on our Facebook page, yeah, we have a Facebook page, facebook.com/chatsportsbears, we will give away a free jersey. To be entered, you got to give us a follow. Once we get to 4,000 followers, we're at like 3,100. We'll do a jersey drawing giveaway. Check it out, facebook.com/chatsportsbears. All right, let's get into the latest on Rome Odunze. Did not practice for a second straight day with a knee injury. Matt Eberflus on Wednesday saying that he's day-to-day, that it's not serious, but did not practice, and neither did Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen, who's been dealing with a bit of a heel foot injury. Remember Ryan Poles a couple weeks ago said he had a cleat issue and his foot's been sore, and are they hiding something there? I'm not sure. Maybe it's some kind of a bone bruise. I don't know. But he came up gimpy on Sunday, and he has not practiced yet this week. So that's certainly interesting and certainly a concern that both guys could be out. Now, my official prediction for this before Friday's injury report comes out, I think on Friday, Odunze will be ruled out. I just don't think the juice is worth the squeeze to push him in this game. If it was a playoff game or something and there wasn't a major risk of further injury, sure, but it's week 2. You're 1-0. If you lose to the Texans, it's not a huge deal. Obviously, you want to win every game. I think Keenan Allen's a game-time decision. I think this is more of a pain tolerance thing with him. It might be something that lingers, and maybe it's just one of those situations where he doesn't practice a ton this year. Who knows? I think he's a game-time decision. They elevate Colin Johnson from the practice squad to help fill in for Rome, and they make a decision 90 minutes before kickoff on whether or not Keenan Allen plays. But I don't think Rome will play, and I think Keenan will be a game-time decision. What do you guys think on Keenan? Do you think he plays on Sunday? Type P for play, type W for won't. I'll stay optimistic. I think he'll give it a go. He's clearly not going to be 100%, but I think it's a pain management situation more than anything else. I think he'll be out there despite not practicing this week. We'll see if he goes through some of the walkthrough stuff on Friday. All right, you look at the full injury report. We mentioned Allen and Odunze. Kari Blasingame did not practice with a knee issue, so keep an eye on that one. They may have to elevate a tight end like Stephen Carlson from the practice squad could be an option there. Ryan Bates, who's been limited with this shoulder, played last week, limited yesterday, did not practice today. Could he be someone who's out? He split time with Nate Davis and actually got more snaps than Nate Davis at right guard in week 1, so that is significant. Mercedes Lewis, weekly rest day is on Thursday, so nothing there. Gran Amagaji still limited with that quad. They're clearly trying to ramp him up. DeMarcus Walker limited with the foot after not practicing yesterday, so he's trending up. And then Zach Pickens, full participant, so he's certainly tracking to play for the first time this year. Did not play in the opener with that groin issue, but that would obviously give you a little boost to your interior defensive line. Now we shift to the Texans. Dalton Schultz. Is he going to miss Sunday Night Football? He has not practiced this week with an ankle injury, and I think this would be pretty significant. Dalton Schultz was probably C.J. Stroud's number 2 target last year. Now, Tank Dell missing some time certainly hurt, but he was really good a year ago. 5 touchdowns, 59 grabs. Week 1, he had just 3 catches for 16 yards, but pretty reliable tight end, so that would kind of give C.J. Stroud's safety net. That would take that away from him, I should say, if he can't go. I think that's a pretty notable deal. If he's absent, I think that's pretty significant for Houston's offense. Now, obviously, they still have their big 3 at receiver, and Collins, Tank Dell, and, of course, Stephon Diggs. But if Schultz is out, I think that's at least somewhat notable. You look at the injury report as a whole for Houston. MJ Stewart did not practice. He's a depth safety. Probably won't play this week. Nico Collins popped up today, limited with an illness. I would expect him to play Sunday. Probably just woke up with a cold or something today, but keep an eye on that. Damian Pierce limited with a hamstring injury. And then Juice Scruggs, their starting center, popped up today as well with a groin injury. He was also limited. Him and Pierce, new additions as well. So those soft tissue injuries, as you know, Bears fans, those can linger. So keep an eye on those because that's a couple notable pieces there on the Texans injury report. Now, today's show is sponsored by Rocket Money. Save money with Rocket Money. They're going to help you cancel any subscriptions that you no longer want, negotiate to lower some of your bills, and just monitor your spending overall. That way you can stay on top of your finances. What Rocket Money does is show you all of your subscriptions on one screen, and if you want to cancel one, click cancel, and they will handle the rest for you. You can also negotiate to lower those bills, like I mentioned, and by up to 20%. You kind of send them a bill, click on it, and they'll see if they can find you a better offer out there with another provider or with that same provider, whatever the case may be. If you're looking to lower your electric bill, homeowners insurance, whatever, Rocket Money can help you do that and sometimes save up to 20%. So that's pretty awesome. Other benefits, you can check your credit score on a daily basis. You can set budgets and have them send you updates on a weekly basis. Get started. Rocket Money's awesome. Staying on top of your finances. RocketMoney.com/Bears now. That link is where you go to download the app. It's in the description and comments of this video. Stay on top of your spending. Cancel any unwanted subscriptions. If you use the app to its fullest potential, you'll save over $700 per month. It's Rocket Money. Get started today. Shane Waldron speaking to the media for the first time since the Bears only mustered up 148 yards in Week 1. It's crazy to say that out loud. They won a game in the year of 2024 with less than 150 yards of total offense. Pretty amazing. Just kind of a little rapid fire on some things Shane Waldron touched on. He was asked, of course, about Cole Kmet's usage, getting less snaps than Gerald Everett. And most of the things Waldron talked about, he took ownership on why certain things happened the way they did. And he said, "We know Cole is one of the top tight ends in the league. He's done a great job. That's on me." And look, I think we have to remember this is the first game in a new season with a rookie quarterback with a lot of different pieces offensively that can be utilized. And I think sometimes, depending on the flow of the game, probably what you plan to do can get away from you a little bit. And we have to, acknowledge somewhat of a grace period. Now, obviously, it's got to be better. And you're paying Cole Kmet $12-13 million per year. He's got to play more. I mean, he's a guy who should be playing the majority of your snaps, not less than 50% and not less than Gerald Everett. Now, should his snaps be down compared to last year when he was playing like every single snap per game and he was beat to hell by the end of the year? Of course. That's why he signed Gerald Everett. But he should not get 7 less snaps than Everett unless you're just getting drilled and you're going 5 wide every play. Okay, fine, go with Everett. But that was not the case last week, even though you were behind. All right, personnel packages as a whole was something he touched on. He said, the flow of the game, some of the struggles that led to, losing some balance in what they were trying to do. And I think also, too, remember there was a stretch in the second and third quarter where they were getting in second and third and longs behind the chains. I think that led to just throwing some things out the window. So he acknowledged he's got to fix some of that. More tempo. This is something I said, and I agree with him. Pick your spots. He said he wants to find some opportunities to play with more tempo. I think that'll play into the strength of Caleb Williams. While he's still learning how to be a professional quarterback, string a couple first downs together and, hey, let's push the tempo a little bit. Get him into a rhythm and something that he feels comfortable with. So you saw Caleb once or twice last week after a first down, hey, let's get the play in, let's go. I think finding those opportunities when it makes sense, I think, could be very beneficial. He did say that the offense felt good that they didn't turn the ball over, and I think that's something worth pointing out. Now, should you be celebrating that when you had 148 yards? No, but there's no doubt it helped you win the game by playing clean, at least in terms of not turning it over. Can't say they played clean in general. They were missing blocks, dropping passes. Caleb's missing throws. It wasn't a clean performance, but in terms of taking care of the football, it was. They really only put the ball in harm's way one time on that crazy ball that got deflected 20 yards in the air that Odunze caught, fumbled, and Tevin Jenkins recovered. Just a wild play. But like Matt Eberflus said, that was the difference in the game. Their guy turned it over 3 times. Our guy didn't turn it over. We won the ball game. So, against Houston, while you want to probably find some opportunities to be more aggressive, if you can play turnover free, you're probably going to have to do that if you want a chance to win this game. And then, of course, on Caleb, talked about his rookie's first start. He said he wants to see Caleb improve on this week is to play with clean eyes and clean feet. And I think that's kind of, especially the foot part of it, is something that Williams pointed to when he spoke to the media on Wednesday. He said he rushed his drop a few times, and that led to a couple of errant throws. And I think that's pretty clear it did. there were a couple throws where one, he just skipped to Odunze. He overthrew a couple balls, and you're just like, okay, like, accuracy is not really an issue of this kid's. Like, it never has been. So that was abnormal, and I think a lot of that can probably be attributed to rushing the footwork, things like that, not getting your feet set. So, it all works together playing quarterback. The footwork with the timing, with the mind, with throwing the football, it's all a very specific calculation, and it just got a little out of whack in week 1. So I do think those things will get better over time. And Waldron said a lot of this stuff, you just need the game reps, and obviously Caleb's going to get those. So hopefully he can build off a not-so-great week and get a little bit better this week, and we'll see if it's good enough to compete with the Texans. Will the offense bounce back? Will it get better this week? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I do think it'll be better. The question is how much. Obviously, we're not going to know that until we see the game, but I do expect improvements, especially from the quarterback. All right, let's talk Velus Jones. Richard Hightower was asked about Velus Jones muffing the kickoff, and he got straight to the point and essentially was just like, yeah, it's unacceptable. I mean, there's no defending it. And he also said he's completely comfortable with DeAndre Carter being both the punt and kick returner. Now, he didn't really rule out the idea that Velus could get another opportunity as the kick returner, but I kind of got the sense that they just don't know if it's worth it anymore, and that's kind of what I've been saying. Like, why would you keep giving this guy chances? And it's a shame. And he even said, look, on a personal level, I feel for the kid, but as on a coaching level, the number one important thing on special teams is taking care of the football. And because what you can't special teams do is take away possessions from your offense. You just can't. Now, ideally, you're doing more than that. You're either scoring on special teams like you did on the punt block, or you're getting good field position, but it would be better to never return a kickoff and take the ball at the 30, or even just catch it and get tackled at the 20, than doing what Velus Jones did. So I don't know if he'll get another shot. I'd be shocked if he was back there on Sunday. Maybe if it's the third or fourth kickoff and there's some flow in the game, they'll put him back there, but I can't imagine he's back there for the opening kickoff. And look, it's something he's going to have to earn back. I don't know how you earn it back without getting a rep in a game, because clearly they like what they see in practice, but the game, he tends to make a mistake. And so I'm not sure where it goes from here with Velus as the returner. He's still on the roster, so I would expect he'll have some type of a role. But yeah, it was an ugly start to what's been a tumultuous 2.5 seasons for Velus Jones. All right, appreciate everybody for tuning in to today's show. We'll continue to monitor the injury situation, Friday's injury report. If there's something notable, we'll have a video for that, plus a whole lot more. So keep us locked in. My name is Harrison Graham. We will see you guys soon. All right, Big Black Chevelle says, score prediction, Bears 27-24 in OT. I love it. That'd be awesome. Colin, I'll tell you what, if the Bears win, we're going to be partying.
Yeah, we are. Couple notes on that. Just wanted to bring it up from earlier. Texans currently 6.5-point favorites. Mm-hmm. The over/under is set at 46.5. Listen, man, it's one of those things where if Williams comes out and the offense just looks smoother, now it's going to be hard potentially if you do not have Keenan and Rome, but if you can kind of maybe play a little ball possession, kind of keep away from Houston, could like you said, give yourself a chance in the fourth quarter. You never know what could happen. So
one thing I like about this game in particular is the Texans don't have nearly the interior disruptors that Tennessee does. Like, Tennessee has obviously Jeffrey Simmons, and T'Vondre Sweat already looks like a stud. I mean, he's just a game changer at 350 pounds or whatever with how well he can move at that size. The Texans have good edge rushers with Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson, but Hunter, A, is not a great run defender, so I think you can run on his side. And B, Anderson's still a second-year player, and the Bears feel better about their tackles than their interior. So I think just from a protection standpoint, that will improve, and that should, leave Caleb being a little less jittery in his drop and in the pocket. So I think that's, even though you're playing a better team, I think that specific matchup the Bears should hold up better in. So if he can get more comfortable would be pretty big, because if you can just settle him into a game, you feel like he's not going to be overwhelmed by an environment. It's just about playing well.
100%. One thing that I just wanted to bring up, every time you seem to move, you're kind of cutting out in a little bit.
Oh, okay. I'll try not to sway a little bit. I also have this note, from Kevin Fishbane. The Bears, you mentioned, plus 6.5. When they're 6.5-point dogs or more, are 1-11 overall in terms of wins and losses, which not a shocker. If you're a touchdown dog in the NFL, you're typically going to lose the game. They're 5-7 against the spread, so about half the games have at least been competitive. Their one win was over the Patriots in 2022 on Monday Night Football when they just hammered them. I think it was 33-14, but not a great record. And by the way, since 2016, the Bears are 3-34 as 6.5-point dogs or more. So they have not been upset merchants, if you will. So a win on Sunday would be pretty unique based on those numbers. So we'll see if they're able to do it. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get your questions answered on the show. If you Super Chat, you can jump to the top of the line and get those questions in first. Hashtag Bears is the free way to do it. We'll get to as many of your questions as we possibly can. If you have questions about this game, if you have any questions about trade ideas or anything else Bears related, we will answer as many of your questions as possible. So lock and load them in. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat will get your questions answered here on Chicago Bears Now. Lawrence says, I'd love to see the Bears win. It would feel pretty significant if they won this game. Just like, it would almost feel like confirmation, like, okay, this thing is heading in the right direction. Now, I don't think you have to win this game for that to be the case, but this would be like, you'd be sending a message to the league. Like, this is not a team you can just look at on your schedule as, oh, we should probably win that game. Like that, the Bears aren't that anymore. So, like I said, get to the fourth quarter with the chance. At least be really competitive in this game. That's kind of what I'm looking for. So,
yeah. Like you said, I mean, we've talked about it a lot. I'd expect a lot of 2-3 tight end sets, a lot of DeAndre Swift, hopefully.
I wonder if you'll get more Khalil Herbert in this game
I can see that
instead
too.
of Travis Homer. Just if you're going to run the ball more, like run the ball with Homer or with Herbert. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. Also, Roshan has not been on the injury report this week, so if he's inactive, that means he's a healthy scratch.
Right.
You're choosing other guys, so I'm definitely curious about that as well.
Yeah. Especially since Velus got more playing time than him last week. So.
And frankly, Velus' offensive touches were actually fine. 2 carries, 11 yards, 1 catch, 8 yards. I mean, 6 yards a touch. Like, if he's giving you that, cool. But it's just his value when you can't trust him to play special teams is pretty limited. So definitely a concern.
I've only got one question so far. So if we can get some questions in,
yeah, we need more questions. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Where are you guys at? You don't have any questions?
Yeah.
Got to use the hashtag Bears function. Hashtag Bears. I don't think he said anything, guys. Imagine Bajik comes out, I should be the starter. He would not do that. I got to say, I like the practice photos with the Navy practice jerseys with the orange helmets this week. It's a good look. It's a good look. 'Tis a good. Why keep Mercedes Lewis? Well, hopefully he plays a little more and he helps you in the run game because he's a good blocker. Good blocker. Hashtag Bears on that, Tony. We'll answer it in our mailbag here. Need a few more, then we'll get this mailbag started. Did they reset on you? Oh.
Yeah, I thought they were gone for a second, and then
We're back?
we are so back.
Oh.
We are so
Who's back of the week? Live stream? That'd be nice.
Knock on wood for that one.
Harpoon, where's Nestle? Okay. Looks like there's a decent amount coming in the chat. All right, it is mailbag time. Fire in your questions. If you super chat, you can jump the line, and we'll get to those questions ASAP. All right, here we go. I'm Harrison Graham. It's time for a little mailbag on Bears Now. Let's kick off the Chicago Bears mailbag from Jim Belushi. We got fill in the blank, he says. The Bears beat the they blank? Well, I kind of did this on the preview episode this week. I kind of said, okay, if you do these 5 things, you got a chance to pull off the upset. So I'll just refer to those here. I think the number one thing is definitely the case because it's why you won the game in week 1. You're going to have to get takeaways, and you're going to have to play turnover-free. Now, maybe you can get away with 1 turnover, but you got to win the turnover battle, and Stroud's not a guy who throws many picks. Even against this secondary, I would guess at most he throws 1. So, can you find 2 takeaways and have 1 or less offensively? If you do, you got a shot. I think shortening the game if possible. If you're running the ball efficiently, stick with it. Try to knock out a possession or 2 over the course of 60 minutes. On the flip side, do take some deep shots. Anthony Richardson, the Colts, had a few of those. He had 9 completions for over 200 yards last week. So if you could find those opportunities, stretch out the Texans vertically. DJ Moore, Tyler Scott maybe gets a chance there. So I'd be looking for that. Got to slow down Joe Mixon. The Bears, one area they struggled a little bit as is they gave up some chunk runs to Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears. I think Mixon's a better back than both. He rushed for $160 last week, so got to contain him. And then if you're Shane Waldron, get Caleb Williams on the move. Run some RPO actions, get him on some boots, and embrace his athleticism. Not as like a YOLO runner necessarily. You don't have to Justin Fields this thing, but let him throw on the move. That's when he's most comfortable. So I think if you do those things and do them well, you got a shot. You got a shot to pull off the upset here. Fill in the blank percentage chance of beating Houston. What do you think? 50%? 30%? I'll give it a 28% chance. I think there's a chance. I do think Houston is a clear favorite here, if we're being honest. 28%, a little better than 1-in-4 chance. Certainly think they could win this game. I think their defense could keep them in it for a while. But can the offense do enough? That's what remains to be seen. DC Viper, do you think the Bears run it more with Rome and Allen being out this week? Well, as we're filming this mailbag on Thursday, we don't know that Allen is out. Technically, we don't know that Rome is out, but I do expect him to be out. We'll see about Keenan Allen. Depending on when you're watching this, maybe we have answers on both. But I think either way, you should try to run the football more. Take some pressure off your rookie quarterback, but also just don't be stubborn and go away from the run game after a couple of bad runs. So I do think, yes, running the football more is going to be a recipe for success against Houston. Say Quads Barkley, did Poles perform a top 5 fleece of all time with the number 1 pick trade? I mean, it's definitely up there. Now, if Caleb flops, it diminishes a little bit, obviously, but you still would have gotten DJ Moore, Darnell Wright, Tyreek Stevenson, indirectly Keenan Allen, indirectly Rome Odunze for Bryce Young. So even if Caleb flops, it's still a pretty big fleecing. But if Caleb hits, like I still think he's gonna, it's one of the biggest mismatch trades in the history of sports. It really, really is. So yeah, I think Poles did a great job there, and I think he's found some pretty good value on a lot of the deals he's made. All right, more questions to come. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. But first, if you're looking to go to a Bears game, a concert, a comedy show, or a different sporting event, or anything that requires you to get a ticket online, Game Time is the place to go. We appreciate Game Time for sponsoring today's show. And listen, they got a new feature on Game Time. It's called Game Time Picks, which makes getting to see your favorite teams play much easier. It'll filter out the fluff to show you the best deal on the best seats possible, so you don't have to filter through the thousands of tickets available on certain events. Whether you're getting tickets for a sporting event, concert, comedy show, or anything else, Game Time has you covered with views from the seats, super deals, which are the best bang for your buck, and last-minute tickets for the lowest prices guaranteed. So download the Game Time app today. Use code CHATSPORTS. It's all one word, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off your first purchase only. That's code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Link is in the comments and in the description of this video. All right, our next question here is from Dude. Am I the only one who isn't overreacting after week 1? Everyone is rusty and the chemistry isn't there yet. Hell, the Bengals lost to the Patriots. Yeah, I don't think I'm in panic mode, but 148 yards regardless of rust is a very low number. But the good news is, and I've pointed this out, from Caleb's points. I think most of the dropbacks he had, it wasn't a decision-making issue. It was just a missed throw. And you're okay with that because you trust him as an accurate quarterback. That was not a weakness of his coming out of USC. So I expect the accuracy to be better. But yeah, obviously you want it to improve, but you don't want to freak out one way or the other. Let's see how it goes this week. Keep building. King Towers, how do you feel about your 4,000-yard prediction after week 1? I mean, obviously not great. Like, you're 140 yards behind the 8 ball. You have to average about 235 a week. So, could he make up 140 yards on average over the course of 16 games? Yes, but, he's going to need some 300-yard games in there. So, yeah, definitely behind the 8 ball. But I don't think 1 week in you're just like, well, the 4,000-yard campaign is dead. But would I bet on it now? Probably not, because you didn't even get halfway to what you needed to average per week. Subscribe and join us because we will be live on Sunday at 6 o'clock Central Time, full hour and pregame show, getting you ready for the start of Bears versus Texans. And, of course, we'll have our full watch party as well. If you see this thumbnail, you are in the right place. That is us. We got you covered with full play-by-play reaction throughout the game. Josh Baratich, what are your thoughts on Darrell Taylor? Well, interestingly enough, we'll talk about him in a little bit in our next segment if you're watching live. I love what I've seen. I think you've almost already gotten good value for a 6th-round pick. 2 sacks and a forced fumble helped you beat the Titans in week 1. When you trade a 6th-round pick for a player, you're kind of hoping he wins you a game. It kind of helped you do that already, but I think he's going to give you a lot more. I think there's a real chance he is your second most impactful pass rusher this year after Montez Sweat. I really do. Darum, do you think the Bears can contain Dell, Collins, and Diggs? Look, I think it's going to be a great matchup. The Texans' strength is their receivers, and the Bears' strength is their secondary. Jalen Johnson on Nico Collins a lot, I would imagine. You're going to have Tyreek Stevenson on Stephon Diggs a lot, and then Kyler Gordon on Tank Dell. I'd probably give Dell the slight advantage there. He's really quick and shifty, but I think Gordon can hold his own. I think Jalen Johnson advantage over Nico Collins could come down to Tyreek Stevenson versus Stephon Diggs. So should be fun. And if the Bears can dial up some pressure again, I like their chances to at least hold their own there. Can we get a bear down going? Get the bear downs going in the chat as we are trying to get to 2-0. Be loud, be proud, and bear the F down. Let's freaking go. Spam the comment section with a little bear down action. All right, we got time for a couple more. Harpoon Bakery, what did you think of Eberflus's defense coaching last Sunday? Look, second half clearly was a juggernaut, right? You held them to 55 yards, got 3 takeaways, made some halftime adjustments. Got to be better earlier. You got 2 3-and-outs to start the game, so that was good, but the offense failed you and didn't take advantage. Then the Titans put together a couple of nice drives. So it was a mixed bag, but I think overall it was pretty good. Look, at the end of the day, if you hold a team to under 20 points in the NFL, you should win. Like, you should win. So I think job mostly well done in week 1. I'd give it a B+, A- performance from the defense. All right, Secret Agent Man's Burner. What free agent offensive guards can the Bears get to fix the Nate Davis problem? I mean, I don't have a list in front of me, but if there were clear upgrades, I think the Bears would have considered that by now. There aren't high-quality offensive linemen that are on rosters. Why? Because the NFL has an offensive line shortage problem. The good ones are all on teams, and they're all on teams that don't want to trade them. So it's hard to find good ones. That's really an area you got to draft well. I would expect the Bears to draft at least one interior guy early year because center and right guard beyond this year are areas you got to improve. All right, be sure to follow us on social media. It's at HGramNFL on Twitter. Same handle on Instagram, at HGramNFL. If we didn't get your question answered, hit us up over there. It's at HGramNFL. All right.
You mind if I talk to the people? Because I think you might need to unplug.
Yeah.
You were kind of breaking up there.
Was it like bad? Like, is the cut effed?
I wouldn't say it's F, but it was like there was definitely some choppy points. All right. But I'll give some bear down shout-outs while Harrison kind of gets that fixed. Yep, for sure. Yeah, so I'll give some bear downs. Nagy, what's up, my friend? What is up, man? FGB from J-Lo. J-Flow, excuse me. Hyro from Cali. Shout out to you. Rodney saying bear down. Only tagged you 5 questions. Secret Bajent. Man's burner. Bear down. Shout out to you, brother. Adam with the bear down. Boom. From Nagy. William saying bear down. Anthony saying bear down. What up, y'all? Harry's just going to change out his mics here, and we're going to get rolling with the last segment. So, yeah, there we go. Ryan saying bear down, Velus out. Yeah, as a kick returner, I would not have it back there, personally. Well, that's just me. DC Viper, Bears need to run a lot of play action on Sunday night. Let Caleb do what he's doing that. I think, yeah, really feed off DeAndre Swift, feed off of Khalil Herbert, and, yeah, really just try to, let Caleb get into a rhythm. They tried it early with screenplays, which can work, but, after the first or second one where you clearly saw the Titans kind of were sniffing those out, needed to get away from it because they, I think, ran like 2 or 3 more after that, and it was just like, what are we doing here? So, Kenworth saying bear down. Can't wait for Week 17. Me neither, LaCora. Me and Harry definitely going to have something on the line for that one, but it should be a good one. What up to Sean? Tim? Shout out to you. Steve? Isaiah saying FGB. Shout out to you. Jennifer, FGB and bear down. That's what we love to see. Bear down, DJ Moore needs more targets. He does. And I think the offense in general, kind of with the way things are looking this week, I would expect DJ Moore to get some more targets. T-Smooth saying bear down. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out, shout out. Yeah, just let me know when you're all hooked up there and I'll turn you back on. What up, Josh?
Should be good.
Testing mic 2.
All right.
Hopefully you're good now.
Should be good. Switched out headsets. All right, we got one more segment here. If you have any more questions, if you super chat, we'll answer those before we get out of here. And then we will call it a day. Appreciate the patience, everyone. On our last segment, I'm going to tell you why the Bears should not trade for Haason Reddick, at least not right now. That's coming up next here on Chicago Bears Now. Should the Bears trade for Haason Reddick? A new report has dropped about his status and how he could get dealt by the New York Jets. I'm actually going to tell you why the Bears should not trade for the veteran pass rusher. My name is Harrison Graham. This is Chicago Bears Now. We got our subscriber battle for Week 2 going against our Texans channel. Want to take them down on Sunday Night Football. Also want to take them down here within the Chat Sports walls. Bears Now has picked up 214 new subs this week. Texans Today has picked up 155. So we got a healthy lead, but let's not leave it to chance. If you want free and daily Bears content, hit that subscribe button and let's take down Texans Today. All right, let's talk about Haason Reddick here. A new report has dropped that the Jets may have no choice but to move Reddick with no update to the contract situation, no solution in sight. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN with the report saying that the Haason Reddick saga rolls on with no end in sight. Both sides appear dug in as the Jets wait for the defensive end to report to work. Their options appear clear. Keep him on the reserve list until he reports or attempt to trade him closer to the deadline. The latter is looking more likely, according to multiple league execs. Not sure they have a choice. They wouldn't get similar value back, but it would be hard for the Jets to pay him at this point, and he clearly doesn't want to be there. I mean, can you talk about, just real quick, we'll get to the Bears side of this in a sec, but this is like an all-time disaster. Like, what are you doing if you're the New York Jets? Like, it was reported a few weeks ago that the Jets, when they traded for Reddick, tried to get a deal done, couldn't come to terms for a player they knew wanted a pay raise / extension, yet they went with the trade anyway. Oh, we'll figure it out. He'll show up. Really? Because he hasn't. And now you might have to trade him again. You traded a third, and now you'd probably get lucky to get a fourth back. I mean, what an all-time disaster this is for the New York Jets. Because remember, they let, I'm forgetting the guy's name, walk out the door, Bryce Huff, thank you, producer Colin, to the Eagles. And now the guy you traded from the Eagles ain't even in your building. It's a mess. But I want to ask you guys from the Bears standpoint, and then I'll give my thoughts. Would you trade for Haason Reddick? Type T for trade or P for pass. Let us know in the comment section below, T for trade or P for pass. I actually would not because, and look, it's one game. It's not the end of the world. And maybe closer to the deadline I'd reconsider. But through 1 week, the Bears' pass rush win rate led the NFL at 71%. You got production from your edge rushers, Montez Sweat, Darrell Taylor, Andrew Billings, and Javon Dexter in the interior. You look at some of the numbers here. Taylor was awesome. Had the 2 sacks, 3 pressures, had a forced fumble. Even in a quieter game for Montez Sweat, still had 3 pressures. Dexter had 3 pressures and a sack. Billings was fantastic. 4 pressures from a nose guard. I mean, he was terrific. Didn't even see much from Austin Booker. You hope he gives you something at some point. And again, I don't want to overreact to one game, but I look at that game against Tennessee and I'm like, the defensive line is not your biggest issue. It's not a major problem. Now, is it a strength of the team yet? I need to see more, but you certainly feel positive through 1 week, right? I didn't even mention DeMarcus Walker. He had 5 pressures, playing both edge and defensive tackle. So you got production from 5 guys in week 1 on your defensive line. So I feel pretty good about that group right now. And again, if you get closer to the deadline and an injury pops up or you feel the need to add there, okay, we can revisit this. But right now, I don't think trading for Haason Reddick makes sense. And something to consider here is even though it probably will only cost you like a 4th at this point, maybe even a 5th, he clearly wants a lot of money. And that's not on him. I am not taking the Jet side in that situation because they knew the situation. They did it anyway. But the fact that he's proven to sit out games, I think he wants pretty big money here. And I put this on Twitter to people. Are you ready to give him Montez Sweat money? Because I'm not ready to give Haason Reddick Montez Sweat money for him to show up right now. And that might be what it takes. That might be what he wants. So I'm not there when it comes to Reddick, not in week 2. Closer to the deadline, if I get a little more desperate or feel like he's a missing piece to make a deep run, maybe. Right now, no way. I think what Darrell Taylor showed at least bought you time with what you have on your defensive line at this point in time. And let's be frank, the Bears have a bigger weakness. They have a bigger issue on their roster right now. I'm going to tell you what that is and why that should be a focus in looking to add talent or at least shore up the rest of the season, if we're being completely frank. All right, before we get to that, shout out to Rocket Money. They have been a sponsor for us at Bears now, off and on for a long time now. They are back, and they're better than ever. I've been using the Rocket Money app for a long time. It's a personal finance app that can find and cancel any subscriptions that you no longer want. And you guys should download the app too and take advantage of this app. What it'll do is help you set budgets and keep you on top of your spending. If you're overspending, they'll send you alerts like, hey, scale back. Or if you're ahead of schedule, they'll keep you on track of that as well. They'll also show you all of your subscriptions on one screen. And you'll see that you're spending probably $200-$300 per month on subscriptions when most Americans think it's more like $70. Get started with Rocket Money. Click the cancel button next to any subscriptions you no longer want. They will cancel it for you. Download the app today at rocketmoney.com/bears now. Create an account and get started. Start staying on top of your finances. My wife and I use this app all the time, and it's been very helpful as we have a lot of bills to pay. That link is in the comments and in the description. Rocket Money has saved customers a total of $500 million just by canceling subscriptions alone. You could save over $700 per year if you use the app to its fullest potential. Check it out, rocketmoney.com/bears now. All right. The interior offensive line is clearly the biggest issue on this team right now. I mean, even Tevin Jenkins struggled week 1. Now, I'm not ready to panic on Tevin. I know his last game last year against the Packers wasn't very good, and the first game this year wasn't, but he's proven to be at least a pretty good player. So at least for this year, I'm not too worried about him as long as he's healthy. But it did not perform well in week 1. Coleman Shelton, not that great. He was okay as a run blocker, not very good as a pass blocker, missed a couple of assignments. Ryan Bates got more snaps than Nate Davis at right guard. He did not look that good. Like I said, even Tevin Jenkins, especially as a pass blocker, well below average. Like, you got to get more there. And I do just wonder, is this an area that you try to find a player before the trade deadline? Now, I'm trying to think of recent years. I can't think of big-time impactful offensive linemen getting traded at the deadline. Usually it's like a receiver or a pass rusher or something like that. Like, has a center that you could think of or a right guard been traded at the deadline and made a major impact for a team? I'm not saying it can't happen. It just seems less likely to have happened in the past. All I know is this, is that you got to get more steadiness from this group. I feel good about the tackles. I think Darnell Wright looks really good. Braxton Jones, we kind of know what he is. He's solid. He's not great. He's not, he's definitely not bad. He's an above average left tackle. It's probably not more than that, but you can live with that. Tevin Jenkins, for the most part, is a good player. It's center and right guard. You got to get rid of the rotating crap at right guard. I don't care who it is. Try someone for a couple weeks, see how it goes. Pick 5 and stick with it. And if you find yourself in week 5, 6, 7, like, this isn't working, we got to find somebody in there, then maybe that's a position you target at the trade deadline. Maybe you don't need the pass rusher, which we thought that might be the case, because through 1 week, pass rush looked pretty damn good. Offensive line, not so much, especially on the interior. So that's kind of where I'm at this point in time. Now, who do you want to start at right guard? Ryan Bates is banged up. We don't know for sure his status. But beyond this week, who would you ideally like to be the right guard? Nate Davis? Ryan Bates? Someone else? I know some people like Matt Pryor. He looked pretty good in the preseason. Drop a name or an initial in the comment section below. So in conclusion, Haason Reddick's a great player. He'd be awesome. But this isn't Madden. You don't really need to add that type of piece right now and sign him up for 3 years and $75 million, at least not right now. Let's see how the next few weeks go. Let's see if the pass rush continues to play well. And maybe the offensive line's an area you trade for. I really do think that could be an area worth investing into more. Let's be honest. Your biggest investment right now is Caleb Williams. Protect him. And if the guys you have can't get it done, maybe there's someone else out there that can. All right, there you have it. Those are my thoughts on the Haason Reddick situation in terms of the Bears. Be sure to subscribe for more Bears content. Let's get more subscribers than Texans today before kickoff. All right, we got I'm Twan 2. Can Bears fans calm down on 18? He's a rookie. Mostly rookie QBs are adjusting to the speed of the NFL and struggle during their rookie season. Yeah, I mean, look, I think there has to be steps, right? It's not all going to click at once. I thought C.J. Stroud actually offered good perspective. He said, look, I think he's going to do great things, and it doesn't happen overnight. C.J. Stroud in his debut lost 25-9. And most of his yards, I think he threw for like 220, were in garbage time. So, and he went on to have a great year. There's no reason Caleb can't do something similar. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. Maybe he's not great this year. Maybe in year 2 he takes off. So, I've been a little guilty of it. I've wanted to see him hit the ground running, but that doesn't happen a lot. So we'll see how it goes this week and go from there.
Yeah, 1 week at a time. I mean, I did the same thing, right? I mean, I came out before the season. I said, when we get to this week 2 game at the Texans, this is something Bears fans should look at, right? Because if Caleb Williams hit like C.J. Stroud did last year, you could kind of look at kind of where their trajectory went, with them acquiring all the guys they did the following offseason. So, listen, it doesn't mean Caleb Williams won't step up, but, it's just something that, like you said, it doesn't happen for everybody as quickly as it did for C.J. Stroud.
It's a process. Stroud was one of the exceptions, not the rules. Still think Caleb could be one of the exceptions. I'm not writing off his rookie season, especially in a game that the Bears won and he didn't turn the ball over in. So, and again, I think the process for the most part was fine. I just, A, didn't love a lot of the play calling, and B, Caleb just missed some throws. Like, Colin, if he just hits the cover 2 beater to Keenan early and Keenan catches the 1 ball, just those 2, forget every other play, we're feeling a lot better. Like, that's 16 of 29 for probably $150 and 2 touchdowns. Not huge volume, but, I would have signed up for that. like that stat line would feel a whole lot better if those 2 throws were made. Again, the second one was dropped, and the first one, we know Caleb can make that throw. He just missed it. So, I'm eager to see if he can hit those throws this week and if the Bears receivers can make those plays. So the good news is he had a bad performance and you won a football game.
Yeah.
I think that speaks volumes too. So certainly a lot to be excited for, and I'm excited for Sunday night. I think this is an opportunity, Colin. Just go let it rip.
Let it rip.
If you go lose by 17, I mean, obviously you don't want to get bulldozed, but I sometimes hate the phrase "there's nothing to lose" because, well, there's a game to lose. Like 2-0 is a lot better than 1-1, but in some sense of the manner, that's true this week. Guys are banged up. You're a heavy underdog. Go let it rip and see what happens. If you win, that's a huge story. If you lose, you were kind of expected to. So that's kind of an outlook to look at this thing here in a couple days. All right, spam bear down as we get out of here. Anthony's asking what's up with Roshan. He's healthy. He's off the injury report, so that's a guy to monitor for Sunday status. If he's inactive, that tells me he's just fallen in the pecking order. I mean, there's really no other explanation. So, Darren says bear down. Secret Bagent Man says bear down as well. Caleb says Waldron copied Getsy's playbook. Let's hope not, because I'm already hearing the Getsy bitches out of bitching out of Vegas from our Raiders report guy. And yeah, welcome to the club, buddy. Velus Jones Ferret, yes, says bear down. Matt Nagy, Josh, MJ Black, Kenworth. Appreciate you guys for rocking with us. I'm Harrison Graham. He's Cullen Brown. We will be back on Sunday live, 6 o'clock Central, for a little Bears Texans Sunday Night Football. We'll have video content between now and then, including any notable injury updates on Rome and Keenan. So keep us locked in for that. Go ahead and subscribe and turn on those notifications. See you guys soon. Bear down.